love Miles Sanders. I love his game. I love what he brings to the table. I love that he's improving in the pass protecting game and all that. And I love the obvious stuff. I love how quick he is. I love his ability to read the field. I just think he's a really good athlete. I think he's a really good running back. And I'm really waiting, and I forget who it was over the summer that put it out there saying that Miles Sanders is one of the worst running backs in the NFL. And from what I remember, they based a lot of that on the statistics. Okay, fine. As I always like to say, numbers don't lie, but they do deceive. And I think in this case, Miles Sanders' numbers really deceive as to how good a running back he is and lead you to believe he's not a very good running back. I would love to see a coach give him the opportunity to show just how talented he is. But for whatever reason, Doug, even though he had some, Miles Sanders had some big home run plays for him. One comes to mind with him against the Buffalo Bills a couple of years back where he ran a draw play, and Miles Sanders, I believe it was 68 yards for a touchdown on the ground. I think he has that explosive ability, and I think you should give him that chance. And when he got his first run, we all know he got 24 yards against the Cowboys on Monday night. And we all thought, hey, look, you ran the football. That's cool. I want to see a coach not only acknowledge how talented he is, which Nick Sirianni does do, which Jalen Hurts does do, and we'll let you hear from both those guys again in a second, but I want to see him not only talk about it, but actually give him the opportunity to show how good Miles Sanders can be. And we all know going into the Dallas game, you're going to have to keep up with that offense. It's a potent offense. You got a great ground game. You got a great offensive line, a little banged up, but still a great offensive line. And then you also have the receivers out there that, minus Michael Gallup, you still have receivers out there like CeeDee Lamb, who torture for 44 yards. And you still have a good quarterback in Dak Prescott. So, like, you knew you were going to have to keep up with that offense, and they were playing at home. It was going to be emotional. You did have the bulletin board material of that Nick Sirianni fella with the Beat Dallas shirt. So you knew going into it you were going to have to go out there and make sure that you took care of business and make sure that you kept up with that offense. And that, also, run the football, control the clock. How do you think this team's going to be against the Kansas City Chiefs when they come to town? Losing 2 straight games. You don't think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder to prove that we're still an upper echelon team. Patrick Mahomes still a really good quarterback and all that. Like they're going to want to put up points on you as well. So it's even more important to run the football. Nick Sirianni talked about Miles Sanders, and he was asked by Reuben Frank this question about an X amount. Like, how do you keep Miles? Like, what do you say to Miles Sanders this week to let him know that he's still an integral part of the game plan, an integral part of this offense, and he needs X amount of touches per game? And this is how Nick Sirianni addressed that question.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't want to say it is. It's an X amount of game. Does he need more than 5 touches? Of course. You know, the way the game went, he didn't get that. And yes, when guys, and I don't want to just single out Miles, but when guys are down because of their role and we expect more out of their role, whether because they didn't accomplish it on their own or I didn't give them a chance to accomplish it on their own, we got to pick guys up. That's what a team does. Pick them up and let them know that you believe in them still. And so, as far as Miles getting touches, there's no doubt we got to get our playmakers the ball. He's a playmaker. He's shown that he's a playmaker. Whether it's in screen game, whether it's out of the backfield or getting the ball.
That sounds like a great idea to me. Let's see it actually happen. Let's see it actually happen. All right, instead of just acknowledging how great he is and how talented he is, let's see him actually get the opportunity to put that on full display. Let's see that happen. I'd be all for it. The other thing, look, Jalen Hurts didn't play his best game. We all know that. He didn't play a good game, flat out. Nick Sirianni had a worse game than the game before, which was just mind-numbing. And your entire team goes through, 14 penalties in this particular game? And Derek Barnett, we see again, get a penalty in this game. So how do they correct this mistake? Because similar to turnovers, you don't want to be giving their offense or giving your opponent any more opportunities to have success. Losing yards, getting the ball pushed back on offense, giving yards back to their offense on defense when a guy like Derek Barnett jumps off sides, encroachment, whatever it might be, defensive holding. Whenever that happens with a guy like Derek Barnett, it seems to always just infuriate you more because it seems to always be Derek Barnett, as we think Nick Sirianni's lips were caught saying at the Monday night game. So one of the questions that came up in this press conference was how all the penalties are falling on the Eagles right now. And what do you do to correct that? What do you do to discipline this? How do you hold guys accountable? Because one of the other things coaches love talking about is how they hold people accountable. So you have seen this, and you'll see it up here because you probably saw the memes of Nick Sirianni holding up his paper and going like that, right? I just made a meme for myself. But he goes into detail about how they try to correct these mistakes. And the whole time he's doing it, I had one thought rattling around in my brain, and I'll explain that to you in a second. But here's Nick Sirianni talking about how he holds his players accountable. It's a bit of a long cut, just to let you know. But here's how Nick Sirianni holds his players accountable when it comes to penalties, which the Eagles are on pace to just shatter penalty records in the NFL.
Players being
there's I think that when you hold a player to a standard, I want to say it that way. When you hold a player to a standard, you just point out the mistakes. It's as simple as, hey, here's what went wrong. Here's what the standard is, and that's what our job is, to paint the picture. Obviously, the standard in penalties is don't jump off sides, don't both sides of the ball, right? But you paint the standard of what's required on each play, and when the play is met, when the standard is met on the play, you congratulate and you get excited about it. When it's not, you correct it, and it's really as simple as that. So when we're watching tape, if this was the tape right here, and we're watching the film right here, right, the play's up at the top, the numbers of who made a mistake on the play are down here at the bottom left. And so that's every play that they watch. Practice, game, it doesn't matter. It's down here at the bottom left. So every play they're getting corrected visually, and then they'll hear us talk about it. The way you handle it is different every time. Sometimes it's hey, we got to do this here, boom, boom, boom. Sometimes it's like, hey, we got to do this. It's just, the tone's different every time.
So they correct the mistake by telling the player they made a mistake. How is that different than like what the ref does in the moment? Like, that's what I was thinking about. Like, there's no reprimand. Like, I'm not looking for Nick Sirianni to be like, Derek Barnett, take a lap. Like, I'm not looking for that. I mean, that'd be nice, but I understand that's not the NFL. I get that. But it's like, all I can think about when he's like, oh, when they make a mistake, you know what I do? I put their number down here on the thing, and I go, there's your number. You did that. That's what the ref does. How do you actually correct the mistake? How do you drill it into a player's head that they can't continuously make these mistakes throughout any given game, throughout their career if you're Derek Barnett? And that question was not answered. Now, the funny part of all of this, not funny, haha, funny, ironic, was that Derek Barnett is a defensive player. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. And Darius Slay is a defensive player. During Darius Slay's press conference, he was asked about those numbers that appear in the lower, right-hand corner of the screen about the guys that made mistakes. And Darius Slay had no idea what the hell the reporter was talking about. And he goes, oh, no, if that's what Nick Sirianni does, he's in the offensive room. I'm in the defensive room. So then they don't do that for a guy like Derek Barnett? I don't know what the hell to believe.